Good morning and welcome to another video. So it's early in the morning, like right after 6. So we're in for a treat today. I do have some bullet points, but we gonna talk, right? This is about dating. We're gonna talk. We have to have a conversation because the age of I don't know if I'm gonna be so nice today, okay? The age of stupidity has gone from, like 20 to girl like 30. And from 30 to like 40. There are women still in their 30s, well into their 30s, going into their 40s, 50s even, 60s even, who don't understand some very basic principles about dating. I don't know how it has happened. I don't know. I don't know how you could go through your life and never force yourself to get growth in the area. I don't know. I don't know why here I am sitting at 30 years old and the Lord has given me wisdom surrounding this area. I don't know. What I do know is He told me to come and talk to you, so here I am. That's what I do now. Okay? So, just a little back story. Like I said, I'm 30 years old. I have been married, about to go into 7 years of marriage. I got married when I was 24 years old. Okay, so there's that. Got married when I was 24. We didn't do any of that foolish stuff. Go watch some of those other videos. You'll probably hear some of my stories as we go throughout some of these points. But I came to, the conclusion about some things before I even met my husband. And now seeing our life, I'm glad that I did, but I never realized that some people never get this type of information and therefore are never able to come to some very sound conclusions. And let me actually go here. Because building a good home, building a good foundation, building a good relationship even is not something that just happens by chance. By wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. Through knowledge, its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. So what does all that stuff start to see? See, some of y'all want to hop to rare and beautiful treasures. But you need to hear that first part. It says, by wisdom, a house is built. And today, the house that we're talking about building, relationships that the end goal is marriage. When I'm talking to you today about dating, I'm talking about the end goal being marriage so that we can build. How does that all start? Well, my Bible tells me that starts off with wisdom. And there's something that I want you to know about wisdom, okay? Wisdom is a principle thing. Tiffany, what do you mean? Girl, where are you going with this? Wisdom is a principle thing. That means wisdom doesn't always have to do with logic. Sometimes the wise thing to do isn't the most logical thing to do. And some of y'all are trying to date people off logic. No wisdom, no discernment, no prayer. I did a whole video for no prayer, no communication with God. You're just trying to find somebody off your logic. And that won't be wise. That wouldn't be a wise thing, okay? Because our minds can be tricked. You can't trick my spirit though, okay? So let's go into some things. Like I said, we're gonna have I'm gonna calm down. I'm calm. Okay, I'm calm. We're just gonna have fun today. Kennedy might wake up because I don't know. Maybe I think my voice probably carries whenever she hears me talking, and she thinks she needs to get up, so she might trickle on in here, and I'm gonna trickle her back. Okay? Because we're gonna have a conversation. I got some bullet points, like I said, so let's get into it. Let's get into the first thing. Here we are with number 1. Be strict with your time. Be strict with your time. Why have you decided that it's okay for you to be someone's girlfriend for 5 years? Why is that a thing? Why are you 40 and still talking about that's my boyfriend and y'all met when you were in your 20s? Why is that a thing? It's not a thing. Stop it. Be strict with your time. Be strict with your time. And you know what? Oh, we're here already. It's hard to be strict with your time when you give up everything. It's hard to be strict with your time. It's hard to really set standards around, I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to be your girlfriend for 2 years, for 3 years, if you just give it all away. And we're going to get to some of the things where all of it is away, but you can gather a few things. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Be strict with your time. This isn't a forever. I don't have forever to date you. That's not what this is. That's not what this is. So let's move on to the next thing. First thing is be strict with your time. The next thing is have some standards and stick to them. Standards. That's not a foreign, that I'm not speaking a different language. Have some standards and stick to them. It is very hard. How can you, see, I want you to begin to think about dating as a job interview. How can you interview someone for a position that you don't even know what roles you need them to play? Have you ever worked for a company where the roles that you were supposed to do weren't properly outlined? You know how frustrating that was? Think about this as a job interview. And I told y'all how I did it, okay? The day was like an after work thing. I couldn't really figure out, what was going on. You know what I mean? He asked me to the movies. So I assumed that it was sort of like a date. Like you're trying to get to know the person. When you say date, like don't jump straight off into like women, a lot of time what we do is somebody will say they want to go on a date with you and you automatically have married them in your mind. I stopped doing that. I get it. It happens. I understand. I got you, girl. This is real. This is realistic. You've married them. You already think about how many kids you can have, where y'all gonna live, and all that kind of stuff. And all he did was ask you on a date. So I believe it was he asked me where would I like to go, and we ended up going to a movie theater. And I told myself, see, we came in separate cars. I told y'all that story another time. I didn't do the whole don't come and pick me up. I'm gonna drive there. Because if I drive there and I don't like what's happening where we are, I'm going to leave. I learned my lesson the hard way. Okay, so I drove there. And my thing was, okay, if I get there and he's not there, I'm not going to sit here and wait for him. And I remember actually talking to my dad on the phone, and my dad said something about my concept of like, he was like, well, what if he was running behind or something like that? And I told him, when I really want a job, like back then, when I really wanted the job, I am the type of person, anytime I want anything, anytime I go somewhere, I'm there early. I'm the person who sits outside in my car for 30 minutes before they even open. So I'm like early. So you being late, and I'm not talking about something actually happened, but you just being late, I'm just running 5 minutes behind, I would have left. This is a job interview. I wouldn't actually hire someone for a job who was late. When you're late to the job, and I told my dad this in that conversation, when you're late to the job, you automatically put yourself on the bottom of the list, in my eyes. Because I don't want you coming in and doing no job for me. And the job, the position, this is an interview. This is an interview for me. So the least that you can do, this is a very simple way that I can see how serious you are, is how do you treat our date? And when I tell you this man got there early, I was like, he will tell you to this day, I was blown away. Not only he was there early enough to buy our tickets, get our popcorn, fix our drinks. And I just showed up. And I will tell you what, to this day, my husband is exactly the same way. But some of you're giving up on this, like you don't have any standards, and you're missing the very important character traits that show you how this person really gonna be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Oh, my bad, I forgot I was supposed to meet you like 20 minutes ago. You know how many times they let you say that to a job before they fire you? But that's the type of man you want, right? Have some standards and stick to the standards that you set. Let's move on to the next thing. Take this serious. When you talk about dating someone, you're introducing you into another person's life. And I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about past that first date, like that first little interaction. What some of you guys are getting into these long-term relationship situations, not even realizing that you're giving yourself to this situation a lot of times before you even know who's sitting at the other end of the table. and you're like running your mouth, you're just jumping into it very haphazardly. And when I say haphazard, what do I mean? I mean without any sense of organization and direction. Like you don't have any direction as to what is it that you want to do. You don't just date to date, because if you date to date, just date because, oh, I just want to have fun and girl, I'm young. If you date with that in mind, you're going to find people who know that you have that in mind. But not a lot of women plan to be tied up. So you don't plan to fall head over heels. It just happens because you didn't do any planning. So the best thing for you to do before you get in dating circles is actually have a plan as to what does this look like for you? What do you want this to look like? Because contrary to popular belief, men are actually listening and looking. And I don't mean listening as in you sitting there at the table, rolling all your business off at your mouth. That's not what I'm saying. They're listening to cues like your willingness to bend, your willingness to compromise. They're listening to these things and they're watching. So you're actually the one who sets the tone. But most people go into dating situations with no standard, with no expectation, just haphazardly. And then you wonder how you got a haphazard marriage. You need to be very intentional. It's serious. Don't stop playing around. Stop looking for cute pictures and trying to vlog dinner dates and vlog the day in the life of me going on a date. Stop trying to do all of that and take this serious, because this is your life. And guess what? At the end of the day, when stuff starts to fall down, the people who sat around watching your day in the life vlogs, listening to all the drama about your life, they're not going to be there to help you pick up this mess. So take this serious. Okay? All right. The next thing that I have, I don't know if you're going to like this one, sis. Are you ready? Stop talking about sex before it's time. You dating, you are not to discuss your body. You are not to discuss your desires even. You keep your mouth closed. Do you hear me? You keep your mouth closed. You keep your legs closed. And a lot of you don't know that when you open your mouth, you might as well go ahead and open your legs with it. Keep it closed. Keep your mouth closed. Your mouth is actually the gate to you opening your legs. Keep your mouth closed. You're not giving information to a man who hasn't made a reservation. Tiffany, what do you mean? Let's use a reservation. Let me give this example, because y'all know I used to do massages, right? Used to be a massage therapist. I did mobile massage. Now, when people came into the suite, they didn't necessarily have to pay up front. Some people did, but they didn't have to pay up front because I was already there. It wasn't so much work. It wasn't so much of a hassle for me. So I didn't make it a requirement to pay up front. When you book the mobile massage, because of the amount of work that it took me to get things together, not only did you have to make a reservation, but that reservation was going to cost you something. You weren't just gonna say, hey girl, can you come somewhere around 12 o'clock and I'll pay you. No. You made a reservation. I had a whole thing that you had to go, a whole process that you had to go through before you made this reservation. And that reservation ended with you paying for that massage in full. Tip and everything. Everything was done in full. That way, when I get here, you've already done your part, so I just have to do mine. And a lot of people, let me tell you, I cannot tell you how many people will waste your time if you don't put things in place, if it doesn't cost them something to get what it is that you have. You're discussing your body with someone who hasn't even paid a price. And then you get up stupid. They trap you up, you get yourself in the bed, and then you get up stupid. You forgot that this didn't cost you anything. Girl, and a little chicken dinner, that ain't nothing. A little steak dinner, that ain't nothing. That's nothing in comparison to how much you actually cost. Stop talking about sex before it's time. Tanzania, what is the time? What does it look like when a man makes a reservation? A ring. A ring. And I'm not talking about the band. I'm talking about the engagement ring. And that doesn't even give you full access. You don't get to see nothing. The first time something was seen, guess what? It was on the wedding night. You don't get to see anything. This engagement ring isn't a forever pass for you to do whatever you want to. And believe it or not, a lot of people have turned engagement. Men have started, they found out the secret sauce to getting you to do whatever they want you to do. They give you a little ring. Baby, at any point in time, you can have this ring back. This ring, this engagement ring is but a reservation. And guess what? If you didn't show up to the reservation, if I showed up to the person's house for the massage and they weren't there, you think I was going to stand around? And I had a no refund policy. But it never happened. You know why it never happened? Because they had to pay in full before I would even show up. Some of you are giving all yourself away and nobody's even made a payment. And then you wonder why you're feeling worthless at the end of it. You got everything out. Everything's on display. Even when you do show up to a date. And I'm going to go over that here in a second. It's actually the next thing that I want to talk about. When you do show up to a date, actually, let's talk about it now. When you show up to a date, you need to show up to the date in a dress code, okay? Just because you're paying for the date or whatever, however, just because I'm here on this date with you and I very well may be interested in you, that doesn't mean you get a buffet of my body. That doesn't mean, my breast and, that doesn't mean that everything that I have is on display for you. And I told you, just because a man thinks it's cute, that doesn't mean that's what he wants. No real man is looking for his wife to be on display for the world to see. So if you're in the company, if you're entertaining someone who perhaps like you to be half naked walking out the house, you have to really check this person's motive. And really, I want you to understand that's not how it goes. That's not, when you value something, you would not walk around telling people how much money is in your bank account. Because they would want to take some of it. I mean, if you have money, they will want to take some of it. You wouldn't walk around giving that information. And if something as small as how much money is in your bank account is sacred, is a secret, it's a treasure to you, how much more than your body? So why is it all on display? No, girl, this date does not give this man's light. No, I'm going to wear something that's nice. Of course, it's going to be appropriate. It's going to be in dress code. I'm going to look nice. But I'm not going to sit here. This is not a buffet. It's not a buffet. And then you're putting all the meat out there and you wonder why you keep getting dogs. Dogs like meat. They do. They do. And don't be surprised because men are more patient than you think. Men are more patient than you think. You weren't duped. You did this to yourself. And I'm trying to help you to stop making the same old mistakes over and over again. You're not that cute. And you very well might be beautiful. I'm saying you're not that cute as in your beauty doesn't make the rules not apply to you. They still apply. That's why you'll have a beautiful woman later on in her life. You still are single. Or you're not single and you like a boyfriend meal. That's not what you want. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to be an endless cycle of just being somebody's girlfriend, being somebody's boyfriend. Nobody wants that. Stop saying that you want that too, because you really don't. What you really want is the right mate, but you got to do the right things to find the right mate. So like I said, stop talking about sex before you can handle it. Okay? Stop talking about sex before you can handle it. Stop talking about things that are reserved for a man who has made a reservation. I already told you what a reservation is. A reservation is your engagement ring. And even once you get engaged, it's not a video about being engaged, but even once you get engaged, this is still not the license for us to run buck wild because the covenant happens with marriage. Therefore, the consummation happens with marriage. So we don't need to do things that stimulate our desire, or let me put a better picture for you, that place logs on the fire so that the fire burns more fervently. We don't want to do that. These conversations, these sexual conversations, girl, you didn't tell all your business to this man via text. I know how it goes. You telling all your business to this man via text. He has it saved. He ain't deleted. You know why? Every time he do something stupid, you didn't got yourself into a relationship. Every time he do something stupid, every time something crazy happens, all he gotta do is look back and check the Rolodex of what you like, and there he go, pulling it out and bringing it to you. You're talking entirely too much about all the wrong things. Let's talk about some things that show me the person's character. Okay? That would be wise. And we want wisdom. See how he treats the people around him. How long you been on your job? Not what you do. How long have you been on your job? Begin to look at other aspects of his life that don't have anything. You have so much to talk about when you're dating someone that has nothing to do with sex. Nothing to do with sex. And I'm telling you because I went through this. I know. I'm a human being just like you. Girl, I don't know how you marry somebody without test driving the car, because it don't matter. That don't matter. You really, and this is a conversation for engagement, right? But once you get to that place, the only thing that you need to know is that things work, right? This is truly a man sitting in front of you. This is truly a woman sitting in front of you. Those kind of things. And there are ways, non-sexual ways, that you can figure those things out, that you can even ask those questions. There are ways to go about doing that. But keep all that sexy stuff. Stop trying to be sexy. You're not getting away with anything, baby. You're setting a trap for yourself. Just letting you know, okay? Your sis just letting you know. Let's move to the next. All right, so here's the next one. I talked about this a little bit just a while ago. Dating is not the reservation. Okay, I gave you my little mobile massage scenario. Dating is not the reservation. So because dating is not the reservation, that doesn't mean that you need to stop dating. Okay, Tanzania, what you trying to tell us to be? I'm trying to tell you to not be bogged down by someone who hasn't decided to make a commitment with you. Now you're smart. You're a smart young lady. You know exactly what progression looks like. I'm not talking about you're like 10 dates deep. And I don't mean dates are just going to eat food, doing petty stuff. I mean like you're 10 dates, you're getting to know each other. And you can feel it, progressing. I'm not telling you to still entertain people past that point. But we're not nothing. You haven't asked me to be girlfriend. No, you haven't asked me to be nothing. And you think that I'm just going to stop dating. That is the worst mistake that women make. And then you're held in these relationships, suspended in these relationships because you give up everything. So why would the man leave you? You give up everything. You're like a mail order wife. Every time he wants it, you just come. You package it all nice, girl. You spend all your money getting your nails, toes, waxes, all this kind of stuff. You spend all your little money. You got it all. And you give it all to him every time he wants it. That is the stupidest thing ever. That is stupid. That is stupid. That's stupid. It's stupid. It is. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's not very wise. It's not very wise. It's not very wise. Don't give it all away. Don't give none of it away. The stuff that you're giving away should cost you very little. It shouldn't cost you enough to tell the truth about yourself. Your vulnerability, actually, like showing up as you, shouldn't cost you anything. Shouldn't cost you nothing. So, this is an interview. This is a consultation. This is not, no. I told my husband, we were actually having a conversation about this yesterday. So let me use my little massage scenario. When people would come into the suite to get a massage before, and even when I would do a mobile massage, but I only really took mobile clients that knew me, that knew my massage, so they were referred, whatever. One of the things that I would do is have a consultation before the massage. You know why? Because I want to hear your expectations, and not just that. You think this is just about me hearing your expectations. I want to know if I can even serve you. If I can be of any assistance to you. That's what you need to think about dating like. You're not there to, you're not there to just like any old body. Does what you have to offer even suit me? And like I said, I was having a conversation with my husband about this the other day. when I was, when I was single, mixing and mingling, once I really got out of that stupidness, that stupid phase that I was in, I looked around and I had so many options. And all of the options that I declined, like all the options and I declined them not like intentionally. I declined them because they saw that I was tied up with someone else who wasn't tied up with me. You're not, no. Absolutely not. No. So when I met my husband, you want to take me on a date? That's fine. But we haven't made anything official. We haven't made anything. I mean, we're co-workers. Trying to get to know each other. But you haven't made a move. You haven't said anything that makes me believe that this is going anywhere else. Remember, I told you we had that conversation. You didn't tell me you didn't want to get married because you wouldn't be talking to me. And I'm not saying that I want to marry you, but I know what it is that I want. I know where it is I know what the end goal looks like for me. And because you're saying out of your mouth you have a different end goal, I won't be the person for you. And we didn't have another conversation because I had a standard. I knew what it was that I wanted. I knew that I wanted marriage, and I wasn't going to take a long-term boyfriend as a substitute. And let me tell you this, the day I knew when I was going to get engaged, I left my old job. I told you guys this story before. My now husband called me on the phone, and we had a quick little chat, and it was kind of like, so would you like to go on a date with me? And he had been asking for a while, and ever since that conversation, I wasn't biting on anything. I didn't want to waste anyone's time. I didn't want to waste my time, and I didn't want to waste his time. So I was like, no, And he said he hadn't asked in a while, but I was like, you know what? This man's been friendly. I'm just gonna say yes this time. But as soon as I say yes, he said, you know what? What if I asked you to marry me? He immediately, once he realized he had an open window of time that this woman has changed her mind. She's obviously saw something over the last year of us working together that she's changed her mind. And you know what he told me? I knew that you weren't the girlfriend type. And I knew that I had to move quickly. Those were his words. But you think if I would have given it all away, if I would have given anything, that he would have been able to come to those conclusions? No. And we can both see now we real good for each other. God is real good. It's real good. But if you don't ever put some things in place, you just keep making a mess and you never get a chance to get to the real good. I want you to get to the real good. I do. I want you to get to the real good. But like I said, this is wisdom. This isn't necessarily logic, because you're like, Tanzania, how could y'all do that? Girl, it was divine. It was divine. But there are definitely some standards. There's some standards in place. Okay? Have some standards. Have some standards. Don't just give your time away. Don't just tie yourself up. Imagine me tying myself up last year when I met him and he said he didn't want to get married. You know how many dates, you know how many experiences I had after that? And I don't mean sex. I wasn't sleeping with nobody. As a matter of fact, I remember I went on one date too. Y'all know I like wings, right? I love wings. Wings is my thing. That's why when I saw this little cheesecake video, y'all see the cheesecake video. We're not going to go there. It just is a little perplexing to me because I love wings. Somebody took me on a wing date, it would have been great. But, whatever. I remember I went to eat wings, and at this point in time, like I said, I was going on dates far away from my house because I ain't trust people. I was on dating websites. I ain't trust them like that. And I'm like, child, you're going to be crazy over there. We ain't going to be crazy near where I live, okay? I don't want you near where I stay. And I remember I went to eat with this guy. He was a nice gentleman. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, we went to the car and, he was telling me what he did. And he was telling me that he was a club promoter. And while I'm not knocking being a club promoter, in my mind, the only thing I heard was late nights. I heard late nights, a lot of women, a lot of drinking. And he said he didn't drink and do any of that. But I just heard late nights. I believe that he even professed that he loved the Lord. But I just heard late nights and drinking and clubbing. That's what I heard. And I heard you love it so much that you actually turn it into a job. And I'm not saying anything about him. Like I said, I am saying a lot about me. That wouldn't have worked well for me. So as soon as I drove away, I blocked him. I don't know what he had to say after that. And guess what? I didn't give up anything. So I didn't care. And let me go to the next thing I have. That's the money mindset for dating. Like I said, when I went to these restaurants, and I was talking with my husband about this last night because I watched that whole cheesecake video. He told me about it. Okay? He told me about it. I went and watched it. This is why we're here having this conversation. I was so ticked off. I never wanted a man to take me anywhere that I couldn't afford myself. Okay? That I couldn't afford. Because at the end of the day, when you ask me to go on a date, I'm going to look at the menu. I'm coming there with my own money. Because when you start making people pay for things, it's an expectation that people pay for things. They expect something from you. You don't need to expect anything from me. Because if I don't like what I see here on this date, you won't see me again. You won't hear from me again. And some of y'all selling y'all soul for a piece of chicken. And it ain't right. For a steak. And it ain't right. But I'm telling you how you get yourself into these situations. Am I saying that he could not have paid for the meal? No, I actually never went on a date that a man didn't pay for the meal. But I was always prepared to pay for it myself. I didn't have steak money at that time. So guess what I didn't need to do? I didn't need to be in no fancy steakhouse. I looked at this menu, and if I would have looked at that menu and I couldn't afford it, I'm sorry, I'll go another time. And I'm not saying you 10 dates in. Oh, Kennedy. Good morning, Kennedy. Good morning, Kennedy. I'm coming. I'll be there in a second. I'm not saying that you are 10 dates in and you're still going 50-50 on the food. That is not what I'm saying. That's how you end up in a 50-50 marriage, and we don't play that. Okay? That's not what I'm talking about. But I'm saying there's nothing established here. You're just getting to know this person. Why do you expect them to pay for your food? What, you planning on giving something to them? See, people have expectations like, I expect you to take me here. I expect you to pay for this. It's because you're saying, you have put a price on yourself. You put a price on your cooch, and you don't even know it. That's exactly what you're doing. And you're cheap. Because you're telling me that you're worth chicken. You're telling me that you're worth steak. You're telling me that the treasure of your body is worth steak and chicken. Otherwise, I wouldn't care where you take me. I mean, I want it to be safe, but I don't care where it is that you take me. I want to like the place, but if you don't know me, how do I expect you to know what I like? Huh? But I won't sit up here and be mad that you won't take me a certain place because I feel that I'm worth more, because at the end of the day, you don't know me. You don't know what I'm worth. That's the point of us dating. That's the point of us dating. But when people start to have that mindset of, how dare he won't take me, he all of this. Well, I didn't plan on you getting any of this. I don't know you. So take me where you see fit. Now, if we are, like I said, on the 5th day and you're still taking me to a place that doesn't suit me, well, guess what? I then can walk away because I have standards. If that is one of your standards. But the first date is not the time to be so silly. And that brings me to the next point here, okay? That brings me to the next point. Develop your character. Before you even get into the dating. But if you have to do it while you're dating, while you're like, don't you get married without developing your character. And while you're in the process of developing your character, you'll actually begin to see good character in other people. Okay? It's like being a follower of Christ. I don't need to ask someone 10,000 questions about their love for Jesus. Because I love Jesus. Because he's my shepherd. I then know what other sheep look like. I know the character of other sheep. Do you know? I have a video for you guys. Actually, it's up right now. You'll see it. You'll be able to see it when this video is up. Do you know that sheep actually tend to each other? that a bunch of sheep, when they're all together, they actually do better than one sheep by itself. So I don't need to ask all these crazy questions. I want to make sure he ain't a narcissist. I want to make sure he ain't broke, busted, and disgusting. I want to make sure this, and I want to make sure this. But you haven't made sure any of that for yourself. You're all those things that you say that you don't want. But you haven't developed yourself. You haven't developed your character. Therefore, you don't even know the true attributes of these things that you really, really want, that you really, really need. You don't know them because you haven't developed them in yourself. So when you see them, you're unable to spot them. When you see a person who is humble, you call them weak. You're calling him corny. You think he gay or whatever else. Because he's meek, because he's mild, because he's a nice guy. You calling him a peon. Because you're actually not a nice person. You're actually not a nice woman. You haven't developed your character. You're actually not humble yourself. So you don't know what true humility looks like in another person. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're, thinking of these attributes and these characteristics that you would like your mate to have, I want you to take that same list. Come on, same measure, baby. The same measure. And I want you to look at yourself and say, is this me? And be for real. You don't have to tell nobody about it, but be for real. Be real with yourself. You know why? Because once you do get married, let's say this thing ends in marriage, the joke's gonna be on you. The only person who's gonna not be happy. The only person it's the demise of the person who doesn't do the work. And I want you to have a fruitful relationship, like I said. But I want you to also realize that that's a lot of work, that's hard work. And some of you putting so much on the men. Oh, he needs to have this and he needs to have that. But you don't have anything. And I'm not talking about money. Girl, money, money. Girl. I don't know who these people. Money answers all things, right? Money answers all things. So money's good. We know you need to have money. For you to get in that car and drive to that date, gas money, the car, you have to pay money for the car, the food, it's money, I get it. But money isn't the precipice on which you build a life. There are way more important things. And sex isn't either. There are way more important things. And I want us, and when I say us, I mean women, to begin focusing on those very important things. Because if we keep on going the way that we're going, it's going to be real bad out here. If you keep on going the way they're going, if we keep on telling other women and letting even our daughters and our sons see that 50-50 marriage is God ordained. I don't even know if these people think this is God ordained. That this is okay. That it's okay for you to be financially stressed out as a woman. That it's okay for you to give up everything. And then once you get later on in your life, you think you need to alter everything to keep this man that you lured in here, girl, with your bosom. That's not normal. It's not normal. I know some people think it's normal, but it's not normal. It is not normal. And that brings me to the point that I actually don't even have here. And that is, some of you are younger and you're not, you can't really grasp the concept that you are going to get old. That the way that you're doing things now, not going to be able the way that you get to do things forever. That you're going to get old. That you're going to get tired. Okay? You know what I did yesterday? I laid down. Girl, 24-year-old me wasn't laying down taking no naps. Okay? You're going to get tired. And when I say tired, I don't mean like physically tired. It's like you're going to be emotionally exhausted if you keep doing the things the wrong way because you're not going to get any results. It's like you going on a diet, girl. You've been on a diet for the last 20 years and you're still telling me you need to lose the same 10 pounds. Well, don't you realize what you're doing is wrong? It's not working. So you would change it, right? So some of the ways that you're dating is simply not working and you need to change it. You need to change it. Because like I said, our children, they're watching. And we can't keep on going the way that we're going, making people believe it is right. Like, and I don't like to really point names out, but I saw an interview recently with a very, You know, with a famous person, excuse me, I saw an interview recently with a famous person, and this woman is very beautiful. She always has been very beautiful. She always has been, you know, she always has been like had these very superstar qualities. The her that I saw sitting in front of that camera, it was an attempt to make even herself believe that she's okay, but she doesn't even look okay. She didn't need that man. She didn't need that weight. She could have found something better. Okay? Stop. Don't settle either. Don't settle. You need to realize that you get a chance. It's not enough. I literally told my husband this. It's not enough for a man to choose you. You need to choose him too. It needs to be something that you want too. But you don't know what you want if you don't have any standards. Okay? If you don't have any standards. And I'm not talking about like, you talking about bedroom, girl? You know how stupid that sounds? I know some women, you won't get off of it, girl. He needs to do X, Y. You want somebody to throw you around, you know, on the ceiling fan, and they don't have a job. They can't keep a job. And I'm telling you, once you actually get into marriage, baby, the person throwing you around the room is not going to be enough for you. You're going to care less. But I don't even want you to get there. I don't want you to get to the place where you have to realize, like, once you're already in marriage, that all of that stuff meant nothing. I'm telling it to you right now. So, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope I covered everything. If you have any questions, as always, ask them, okay? And I'll see you in the next video.